go. All right, just waiting for some more people before I get started. Let me see. Right. Okay, so today I'm going to be playing around with some molds and resin. Sorry, it's a mess here. So I'm going to be playing around with some molds and some resin. I'm using the new release molds from Redesign with Prima. Why does Facebook do that? Okay, sorry, there was like a notification. So I'm going to be using fast cast resin. It's what I prefer to use with my molds because it is fast, it gives you perfect appliques every single time, and I just think it's just what I prefer to use over some of the other materials. Okay, so I am going to put on some gloves because it's messy, and I'll show you what I've been working on. Okay, gets really sticky, so gloves are a good idea. All right, okay. So the resin, it comes in two parts. There's this part, and you mix them together, and then when you mix them together, they start to harden, and that's what activates the resin, and then it casts white. So as it dries, it'll turn white, and then when it's completely cast, it will be completely white and kind of pliable. I already did a few, so I'm just popping them out of the molds now. I made these 15 minutes ago, so you can see they're kind of already bendy. You can bend these when they come right out of the mold. This one, I messed up a little bit. I'm going to keep that one in because there's some gaps on this one. So you can see bendy when you first pop them out of the mold. And I'm using the Sweet Bellflower. This is the Sweet Bellflower. Really pretty. I'm also using lily flowers. So this is the lily flowers. And I'm using the Victorian Rose mold. So these three molds I'm going to attach to a piece that I'm working on right now. I'll show you in a bit when I start making the molds and they're firming up how to attach them onto a piece. So I'll go over that as well. All right, so let's get casting. Let me turn this. Let's see, let's lift this up a little bit. Oh, shoot, that was bad. Sorry. These phone holders. Okay. Let me try to shift it without throwing it out of my holder. Just want you to be able to see this as I work. Okay, I think you can see that good. So I'm going to pour, I have these little measuring cups I like to use. They're just like the medicine little measuring cups that you can get, and they make for a more exact pour. When I'm doing the molds, I like to do them separately a little bit at a time because they firm up really quick. So once the resin starts firming, you have to pour it and make sure it's in within 30 seconds. So it just activates super fast. So that's why I like to do a little bit at a time and do one mold at a time. It just helps with the accuracy. And then I just use little paper cups, you know, disposable cups to do it. All right, so I'm going to pour one part of the resin. So you just pour one part in here. And it usually takes a full one of these for one mold. getting that. I'm just going to pour it into this. Is this the one I was using? I don't know. All right, I'm just going to pour it into the cup. So you just pour one part in here, and then you pour the other part in. And I just use like a popsicle stick, and I'm just going to stir it for a few seconds. You don't want to over stir it because that's when it starts to firm up. Once you start feeling warm, you pretty much have to work really fast and start pouring, because that's when that's a sign of it firming up. So you only have a few seconds to work with it after that. So I kind of want to stir it a little bit more because I want this to cast kind of quickly so I can demonstrate how to attach the molds onto the piece. So I'm doing this on purpose, but just to let you know, in the future, don't over stir it too much. Otherwise, it's gonna make a bit of a mess. But I'm over stirring it because I want it to firm up fairly quickly. I'm just gonna pour it into the Victorian rose mold. And for the little spots, I try to do the wider areas first, so I'll just pour in the wider areas carefully to try to get it nice and neat inside. However, I always get a little bit of an overpour, but that's just how I do it when I am doing these really intricate parts. I just try to pour it in the larger areas first and have it run down. I think it's good. I try to be careful, but you're bound to make a mess. Just pouring it, just trying to let it run down. I'm trying to make sure these are all full. It's a bit hard to see it when it's clear if you have it in all the areas that you need it to be in. But I'm going to pour a little bit in this other mold where I missed some areas. It's just kind of a little bit difficult to see sometimes if you get it into all the little nooks and crannies that you need to. So just like kind of push it into and just make sure I get it into the little, these little areas here. The edges, and then you have the little stems, and those are pretty narrow. So just make sure I try to push it in the best that I can. All right, let's move you a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and do sweet bellflower. So again, I'm going to do equal parts. So one part of this. And then the other part, the clear part, just going to pour that in. And then I'm just going to dump it in here. Whoops. Oh no, that just dripped on there. And just going to stir it up again. I can't really see your comments, so I'm sure Roz can answer anything that you have questions about, as she's an expert. So, I mean, I don't think I can see it. Resin fingers.